Hi, super quick introduction. I'm Chantal Fossey. I'm an e-commerce coach and I help people turn their little side hustles into thriving businesses that actually pay them. So today I'm super excited that you're here with me because I want to share with you three metrics that can have a profound difference to your revenue. And if you track these three metrics and you influence them positively, as I say, it can make a huge difference to how much you're actually paying yourself. So let's get started. So these are the three metrics to success: traffic, conversion rate, and average order value. You've probably heard of some of these, or maybe all of them. But before we actually go into some examples to show you how these can make a massive difference, let's just first break down each so that you're really clear on exactly what they are. So, traffic is the total number of visitors that you have to your website. And then out of those visitors, how many people actually buy? So that is conversion rate. And a typical conversion rate for e-commerce is 1 to 3%. Under 1%, if you have really high value items, then that is quite typical to be sort of 0.5% even. So a lot of people don't realize that you need a lot of people to your website to actually make one sale. But that is your conversion rate. And then average order value is how much do they actually spend on average. So out of all of the people that land on your website, those that buy, what is their average order value? How much are they actually spending? What is the average of their order? And all of these metrics you can find in your Shopify analytics. If you have Shopify, or your website analytics, I'm sure will have each of these measures. So now let's look at an actual example. So I'm going to call this customer Bob. Bob is looking back at his metrics for 2023. And what Bob found is that his average order value was $70 for 2023. So on average, that's what his customers were spending. He had on average 150 visitors to his website, which equated to 54,750 people for the whole year. His conversion rate was on the lower side and it was 1%. So with his average order value and his traffic or the visitors to his site, and with a conversion rate of 1%, his revenue for 2023 was $38,325. Now we're going to take a closer look at what happens when we influence these three metrics. We're going to look at two different scenarios: a slight increase on these three metrics and what I call a stretch increase. Now, what I'm going to say before we switch to the next slide and you start scanning and looking at the two columns is that these metrics are able to be influenced. They are completely within your control. And we are going to cover on another video exactly how you influence each of these. The purpose of today is to show you what's possible and to get you excited and to hopefully simplify how e-commerce works. It is just a numbers game. So let's look at a slight increase in these numbers and a stretch increase in these numbers, and how that impacts Bob's bottom line, the revenue that he gets into his business. So let's have a look at a slight increase first. If his average order value increased just by $5 and he got an extra 10 visitors to his website every day on average, now that's not a huge amount and it's totally achievable. And if he just increased his conversion rate by just 0.5%, Bob would be making an extra $27,375. Now, if that doesn't excite you, perhaps you shouldn't be in e-commerce, if I'm honest, because that is totally achievable. Now, let's look at a stretch increase. Still, in my opinion, achievable, but a few more things that we might have to look at to be able to achieve this. but it's definitely still achievable. So he increases his average order value from 70 to 80, so just $10. He increases his traffic or his visitors to his website by an additional 30 visitors per day. Again, completely achievable. And he doubles his conversion rate. Now, remember before I said that conversion on average for an e-commerce store is between 1 and 3%. This is still well within that limit. So he does double it, but through some concerted effort, he manages to increase it to still well within the norms of an e-commerce conversion rate and increases it to 2%. Now, if you remember before, back in his 2023 stats, Bob was making 38,000 something, can't remember the exact amount. But if we were to have the stretch increase, which is achievable, Bob would make an additional $66,795 just by influencing these 3 metrics alone. Now, you're probably wondering how do I actually influence them? Well, actually, there's a number of things that you can do to influence each of these. And I'm going to break those down in 3 separate videos in the very near future. So stay with me. I just hope that has excited you and simplified how e-commerce works. It is a numbers game and totally within your control. So I would love for you to join me next time when I delve a little bit deeper into how you can influence those. But I'd also like to say, if you would like a copy of my calculator so that you can plug in your numbers, perhaps you want to look back at 2023 and you want to see exactly how that looks and set some goals for 2024. Then by all means, just flick me an email, hello@ecomelevate.co.nz, and I would absolutely love to share my spreadsheet with you. So join me next time and let's start influencing the metrics that are going to make you more money.